Hello and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you see and if you want to see more. Coming up in this episode, we have Steve McNamara having harsh words over comments made to IMG. And we finish off NRL round 19 with 2 games, results, build-up and scorers. So we begin by continuing with the NRL review results and scorers as round 19 comes to a close on Sunday morning. The first game that we're going to look at is the Canterbury Bulldogs versus the Gold Coast Titans. Both dangling close to the bottom of the NRL ladder, Sunday's clash shapes as a crucial one for both the Bulldogs and the Titans, despite it having no bearing on the competition's top 8. Playing at home for the 5th game in a row, the Bulldogs will look to get back to winning ways after consecutive losses to top 8 sides, Cronulla Sharks and South Sydney Rabbitohs. Gold Coast, meanwhile, put in one of their better performances of the year last week and were perhaps unlucky not to come away with the points against Brisbane in the 16 points to 12 defeat. The Titans won both clashes with the Bulldogs last year, but have lost both of their previous 2 visits to this week's venue. And with that, here are the 2 teams. Raymond Vitali Mariner is a late inclusion in the starting 13 of the Bulldogs, taking the place of Tavita Pangai, who goes back to the bench. Chris Patolo comes back to the interchange bench while Curtis Morin moves back to the 18th man. Jake Avarillo, sidelined due to COVID. Declan Casey will move to fullback with Aaron Shuck coming into the centres, as he himself returns after missing last week's game due to COVID protocols. Josh Adokar will return on the wing despite spraining his ankle during last week's clash against South Sydney. Titans have no late changes for their squad with an hour before kickoff. Jaden Campbell named on the bench for his first game since round 13 after recovering from a hamstring injury, while skipper Tino Fasamalawi returns to the starting side at lock and Erin Clark goes to the bench. Big Tino is the pantomime villain in this game after the Origin 3 exploits between him and Matt Burton. And this did indeed help the Bulldogs as they won out 36 points to 26, with the Titans only getting points near the end of the game. So, first of all, Josh Adokar scored on the 4th minute after a Matt Burton penalty, which Burton converted for an 8-0 lead. Jeremy Marshall-King, who's off to the Dolphins for 2023, scored on the 18th minute before Josh Adokar scored again. Before that, Toby Sexton equalised scored a try and kicked a conversion to make it 8-6 on the 9th minute. After Matt Burton scored on the 30th minute, David Fafita scored on the 38th minute for a response from the West Tigers. After half-time, Josh Adokar completed his hat-trick with a intercept try that was his second of the game and put the Bulldogs into the driving seat. There was a projectile thrown onto the pitch at Josh Adokar, it seems, on halfway as he was going in for this try. So I'm sure that the NRL, the police, and also Canterbury will look into that. Then there was 2 quick tries from the West Tigers as Philip Sammy on the 52nd minute and Patrick Herbert on the 57th minute made it a bit tighter. But Matt Burton scored on the 64th minute to put the results without a doubt. There was only one score after this, and it was the first try for Sosiofo Fafita on the 66th minute. Jojo went over for a memorable moment despite the team's loss. And there was 5 from 6 conversions from Matt Burton, while Toby Sexton hit 3 from 5. It was the Bulldogs that came away with the win, And Titans are so close to the bottom of the table now. Before we go into the second game of the NRL, there has been a little bit of fallout after the Catalans Dragons win against the Huddersfield Giants, as Catalans coach Steve McNamara accused Huddersfield of disrespecting his club by claiming French teams bring nothing to the game. McNamara, speaking after his side gained a last-minute 13 points to 12 victory over the Giants in Perpignan, was angered about the comments allegedly made by Huddersfield in talks with IMG, the international marketing group who specialise in promoting sports, media and entertainment, who have aligned themselves with the RFL and Super League. It was a really gritty performance against a team I think don't have any respect for us at all, said McNamara. There is talk this week, Huddersfield saying French teams give nothing to the game in talks with IMG, and that French teams should not be in Super League competition, which is an absolute disgrace. What the Catalans have brought to the competition in the 16-17 seasons is on par with what some of those clubs have brought in 100 years. It's a terrible attitude towards our game, and one aspect of disrespect that clubs have shown us over a number of times recently: their opinion and attitude towards expansion and French teams in the competition. I just think the disrespect shown to us by Huddersfield in particular is not what the game needs. People talk about being together, but it's bullshit. Apologies for the language. It's about every man for himself. I hope IMG gets hold of this and look at it from a broader perspective. A real broad perspective. And do what is right for this game, so we aren't an M61 corridor in 100 years time, or that there isn't a game. And don't listen to the small-minded people that have their own self-interests at heart. So just on a personal note, this gives you a sort of idea of what the difference is between the two teams. Recently, Saints travelled to Catalan for an attendance over 10,000 at Perpignan. Stade Gilbert Brutus has a capacity of about 13,000. Huddersfield Giants season tickets are at £180 for adults over the age of 30, while their season tickets for under 30s are £90. They're struggling to get attendances in, and around about 5,000 to 6,000 is the average so far this season. Who brings more? The John Smith Stadium has a capacity of 25,000, which the Huddersfield Giants have, and their football team unfortunately doesn't fill that too often either. In response to the allegations, Richard Thulis, who probably was in the south of France at the time, told the PA, "I have no idea how the Catalan coach would know what I said to IMG, given I only met them for the first time last week in a group Super League meeting. How their Catalan's representatives interpret the feelings of the confidential meetings is his prerogative, but I would suggest it is better these discussions remain private and we allowed to give their views honestly, and we allowed IMG to formulate their recommendations, having taken soundings from all stakeholders, which I'm sure they will. I, for one, as an expansionist, kind of hear that comment and go, that's not a denial. He's not denying it at all that he said anything like that. He has got to be in the best interest of Huddersfield Giants, as that is who he's employed by. But this doesn't help them in the long run. More teams from Catalan, London, Bradford coming to Huddersfield may see the crowds get bigger. Last record attendance for Huddersfield at the Jet on Smith Stadium, just to give another figure, 15,629 back in 2008. So their record attendance was 14 years ago, and have not been able to sustain that since. May change with the new team that's in there, but I won't say so much yet until they start winning trophies. The final game of round 19 sees the North Queensland Cowboys looking to cement their second place position in the NRL, while West Tigers were looking to go above the Titans now that they lost against the Bulldogs. It was going to be a fun game no matter what, as the Cowboys have been a revelation in 2022 and find themselves sitting second on the ladder with 7 rounds to play, daring to dream of the club's second ever premiership. In stark contrast, the Tigers, as I said, sit last after a loss to the undermanned Panthers and are in danger to collecting their joint venture's first ever wooden spoon. There were some positive signs for the Tigers, with Adam Dewey's return to 5'8", sparking their attack, and youngsters Junior Tupo, Asu Kepoa and Vanua Pole looking at home in the NRL. With their origin stars returning, Todd Payton's man will go in as hot favourites to bounce back from their loss to the Sharks last weekend. And with that, here are the two teams for this last game of the weekend. For the Cowboys, a late positional change for the home side, with the former Tiger Luciano Leilua moving back to the bench and Jermaine Tanoa Brown promoted to the starting lineup. Maroons trio Val Holmes, Tom Dearden and Jeremiah Nane, try and get my teeth back in, are back on deck after being rested in round 18, while Murray Talagi is also back after his COVID protocols made him miss the last game. Amiso Tabuai Fidal goes to the bench, and Ben Hampton, Conley Lemelu and Tom Chester all drop out of the squad. For the visitors, James Roberts and David Nufalumo drop out after both men missed round 18 due to illness. Brett Naden is back on the wing after serving a 4-game ban. Veteran James Tarwell moves into the starting side in his 300th NRL game, pushing Zane Musgrove to the bench. Tyrone Peachy and Alex Seyfarth are the new faces on the bench. The Tigers confirmed on Wednesday that Brett Kamali did not travel with the team to Townsville after testing positive for COVID. Assistant coaches Ben Gardner and Nathan Kalis will take charge of the team in Kamali's absence. And some say it nearly was a good win for the assistant coaches of the West Tigers, as controversial circumstances at the end of the game gave the Cowboys the 27 points to 26 win. The scoring started in the first minute when Tom Dearden went over for the Cowboys, which Brent Naden, back from his 4-game ban, scored in the corner to equalise the game. This made the score 6-all, but it was the Wests who went and pushed the accelerator button. Fatamanu Brown scored on the 20th minute, and Asu Kepoa scored on the 35th minute. The Cowboys rallied after half-time after Valentine Holmes went over. Jeremiah Nane scored his first try and his second on the 67th minute. At this point, Valentine Holmes had converted 4 from 4, and the lead was firmly in the West Cowboys. The Cowboys' hands. And to put the exclamation point on that, Valentine Holmes kicked a field goal. It was a dummy one, setting him further back than the original receiver who was set up for the drop goal, and he nailed the 27-yard field goal. While this was all going on, Ken Moimalo was sent to the sin bin on the 56th minute, which gave the impetus to Cowboys, but West came back on the 54th minute after Brent Naden scored his 74th, scored on his second try on the 74th minute. Then to put the cat amongst the pigeons, Star Tato scored on the 78th minute to give West the lead again, and looked insurmountable as Adam Dewey's kick hit the post, and we thought the Hootoo would have gone. But 1 second was left on the game clock, and straight from the kickoff, the referee blew the whistle after it was in the West Tigers' hands. But Wests were challenged for this decision as the Cowboys challenged the call and looked up for a shepherd on Carl Felt, which looked to me was a straight run back by the West player trying to get into position following the flight of the ball, and Felt ran into him. But the penalty was given for the Cowboys, which Valentine Holmes knocked over, and all hell broke loose in the refs here. Nothing violent, nothing verbally aggressive, just appeals from all the West players because they didn't deserve to lose this. But a loss is against their name now, as they lost set 27 points to 26. So after all the games, here is the league table in the NRL, courtesy of ZeroTackle.com. The Panthers have now won 17 games after they downed the Sharks in their most recent game, but the Cowboys have cemented second place, going 2 points clear of the Sharks and the Broncos, who go on to equal points with the Sharks after their victory over the Eels. The Melbourne Storm against the defeat against the Rabbitohs sees them and the Eels, all three, on 24 points, with the Storm and Eels dropping down a place and the Rabbitohs going in between. Next is the Sydney Roosters, as they put a good result together against the Knights, but now the Manly Seagulls drop out at the top 8 after their defeat against the Dragons. The Canberra Raiders win sees them move to the 10th and the Dragons to 11th. The Bulldogs move up a few places after their victory over the Gold Coast Titans. New Zealand Warriors are in 13th place with the Knights in 14th, and the bottom two, both on the same points, have got each other to beat each other for that wooden spoon position. 7 games to go. We'll see what happens. And that's it for another episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video worldwide, as well as clicking that notification bell for any updates on new videos that may be coming your way. Tell me what your thoughts are of today's episode. West Tigers, were they harshly done by the defeat and the call at the end of the game? I believe so. Canterbury Bulldogs, can they put a run together to prove some momentum for 2023? Not sure. They're still inconsistent and need a couple more players, I think. And Catalans and Huddersfield going back to their corners, ready to go out for round 2. Or is it round 19? I can't tell, because there's so much infighting about who can keep the smallest bit of crumb of what Sky give out, rather than looking for the long game for the biggest piece of the pie. Anyway, you tell me in the comments below that it's open, and I hope to hear from you further on down the line. But anyway, thank you all for who have recently subscribed and all that have been watching the videos. I will continue to make them as long as you keep continuing to watch them. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share this video worldwide. I will now wish you all the best, so please stay safe and I'll see you in the next episode.